now with Deb Boyd. Deb's been talking about your experience in Hervey Bay at St Patrick's Hospital. St Stephen's Hospital, I apologise. A bit of a story behind digitally enabling that hospital.
St Stephen's was the first fully integrated digital hospital, and it achieved HiNZ level 6 in November of 2014. So it was a greenfield site, so it was purpose-built, brand new, and designed to try out this wonderful new technology. And we had lots of technology.
And did sometimes the technology get in the road of process or patients, or...?
I think that was part of the learning process for the nurses. There was definitely a process of transition and understanding how to incorporate technology in the way that they engaged with patients. I think initially there was some fear amongst the nurses that they might lose sight of their patients and that computers would overtake the priority. But as they became more familiar with the technology, that wasn't the case.
So what type of hospital? Surgical hospital only?
It was med-surg, so it had both disciplines.
Was one easier than the other to enable in the other?
Not really. It's patient care is delivered in a reasonably similar way. It's the technology was applicable across all disciplines.
So I'd imagine getting the processes right and the workflow right to match the technology, as opposed to, well, putting the technology first. That would be a disruptor. How did you align everything to make it work?
I think the team spent a great deal of time in the project preparation and planning, and all of that work that goes on developing the project plan is critical to ensure that when you do make that transition over into the digital environment, that everything just works seamlessly. But you have to have a very good understanding of how the processes work in paper before you become electronic.
And what does it actually mean? So electronic health record entirely?
Yes, it means that the entire patient record is computerised. So there's no forms and recording of any data on pieces of paper. It's all directly inputted into the computerised patient record.
So a patient's in a bed with their vital recordings being monitored and going directly into the system. So yes. Are there alarms being set, going off when things are deteriorating? Is it that digital?
It is that digital, and that's part of the decision support systems that you can build into the programs that you choose to deploy, and they can absolutely enable clinical practice and enhance it by you have some control over the type of alerts that you want enabled in these programs, and the data will be automatically received from the blood pressure monitor or from the cardiac monitor, and then if any of the parameters of that data fall outside what's been pre-programmed, then that will generate an alert which will notify the nurse or the doctor depending on how far you want it to take.
So in the early day, going back to some of the earlier HiNZ, some of the projects that people were talking about were things like the gradual deterioration of patients and how often nurses don't notice that or doctors don't notice that, and then until so the computers were ringing the crash trolley before the staff were. Is that similar process?
Absolutely. Early warning scoring systems are mandatory over in Australia, and they were part of the build, and so they were part of the software. So yes,
I imagine starting with greenfields would be easier. I mean, you're not changing systems, so because you're designing from go.
Yes.
Any learnings that people could take from, because we all don't have the luxury of that.
No.
So is there any learnings you could take from your experience from a greenfields into an established hospital moving to digital?
I think you've got to look at it all from a change management perspective rather than an IT piece, because you're changing culture and processes, and I think it's really important that you listen to people and really understand what their fears and concerns are, and try and understand the types of solutions that they're looking for as you start the build for the design of the system.
So who drives? Who's the driver of the whole thing? Is it clinicians or IT?
I think it's got to come from the clinicians, yeah, with great support from IT.
Deb, that's fascinating. Thank you very much for your time today.
Welcome. It's been lovely chatting. Thank you.